Welcome to the channel. Welcome to today's run through of all the latest Manchester United news and transfer updates, keeping you right up to date with everything. I'm Jamie. Before getting into it, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's jump straight into it. So let's kick off with the Sergio Ramos story. I know some of you have been mentioning it in comments and things the other day. I did actually go through it on my live the other day regarding where the source and the story had come from. But to put it to bed, Fabrizio Romano has said there's nothing in it. So ahead of the January transfer window, shock links with out of contract Sergio Ramos have emerged in recent days. However, journalist Fabrizio Romano has issued an update on the defender and offered clarity on United's apparent interest. Speaking to Gimme Sport, Romano plainly said, "I'm not aware of any contact between Sergio Ramos and Man United now." And then it goes on to, and this is in the Manchester Evening News, saying, of course, United's recruitment strategy of late has veered away from high-profile, older signings, such as a move for Casemiro in the summer of 2022. Instead, they have prioritised young and exciting talents such as Benjamin Sesko and Lenny Yoro in recent windows. So when it came out, because originally when I saw the story, it was coming from like Goal and another Spanish radio outlet that have got like Goal have got like 10 million followers on X, and Goal, oh sorry, the other Spanish outlet have got like 1.4 million followers. So even I was like, hold on, that seems a little bit, that's they're decent or big news outlets anyway in the online space, but traced it back, came from Fachajes, and Fachajes, if you're a subscriber and you've watched any previous videos, or if you're not, Fachajes are one of the worst sources of information out there, in my opinion, if not the worst source of information out there. But they always get reposted, and you'll hear stories around reports from Spain and all of this nonsense, and it may come from Fachajes, so be careful out there, people. Don't believe me? This story came out from Team Talk saying that Manchester United are ready to go all out to sign Adam Wharton in January and are willing to pay Crystal Palace a fee worth above and beyond his valuation. An explosive report is claimed, and with our sources revealing the likelihood of such a deal going through. Now, this is from Team Talk. Now, Team Talk themselves are a gossip outlet. They do have some decent journalists that write for them, like Dean Jones is decent. I think Graham Bailey can be a bit hit and miss, but can be quite decent at times as well. And even Team Talk is saying, and according to Spanish outlet Fachajes, which admittedly is known for its somewhat far-reaching transfer speculation, so even Team Talk is saying, yeah, Fachajes have far-reaching transfer speculation. In other words, they're clickbait bullshit, nonsense, and I know I don't believe this story neither because it's come from Fachajes, so we will put that one in the bin. So just to go through and debunk the whole Sergio Ramos to United situation, not happening. And Rob Dawson from ESPN actually said something interesting. He said, United have focused on signing younger players, with Barada and Wilcox moving away from signing aging stars on inflated wages like the club did with Ronaldo in 2021. And he makes a very valid point about the recruitment strategy and why we would not go anywhere near a 39, coming up 40-year-old Sergio Ramos, who would be on massive wages. But interestingly, Rob Dawson did say the recruitment drive is currently centered on strengthening the centre of midfield, as we know, widely documented, unless you've been, living under a rock for the last 6 months, and increasingly options at wing back, which leads me nicely onto the next story. If we are looking for wing backs, then Andy Mitten has come out with the following regarding Semenyo on the Talk with the Devils podcast. Now, Andy Mitten is very well connected at United. He's been covering them for years, has connections, gets access to interviews and all these sort of things. So he is somebody to pay attention to when he speaks. So on the podcast, he said, and they were having a debate around Semenyo. And I think it was Carl Anker that was saying he doesn't see United going for him or along those lines. And Andy Mitten jumped in saying, I think United would absolutely sign him and retrofit him, as you say, as a wing-back. They were very interested in him last summer, but the deal timed out on them. Bournemouth were adamant they wanted £70 million for him, and several clubs were interested in him, but none of them would meet that price. He started the season very well. He's dropped off a little bit. But if you ask Man United today, would they like to sign Semenyo? The answer would be emphatically, absolutely yes. That doesn't mean he's signing. He's got a buyout clause, and I know there are a lot of people there who absolutely highly rate him and think he would improve this Manchester United team. There'd be a feeling that those around him, would improve. All the connections around him improve, and that's the idolised situation. So Andy Mitten coming out saying that effectively he's been told by people at his inner circle or whoever he speaks to at United that Manchester United would absolutely love to sign Semenyo and that they would also convert him as a wing back as well in this system. And then obviously, if we do decide to change formation or anything going forward, I think he could be utilised in the attacking position. So it's not the worst idea that I've thought of. And he is actually a very defensive wide man as well. If you look at his stats and his numbers, he puts in the effort and the work rate defensively just as much as he does going forward. He's not like like when we had Rashford that would do absolutely nothing defensively, but you could utilize it going forward with his goals and stuff. Like, he is an absolute grafter as well, Semenyo. So it's not necessarily the worst idea that I've heard of. And obviously the other day there was a report coming out from Dean Jones, I think it was, that I bought to you, and Dean Jones was saying that United have the money available to go for Semenyo, but they're debating whether to go for him or not because Liverpool are seen as the favourites, and we don't know whether Semenyo would want to come to United with our current situation. We don't know. Apparently, he's an Arsenal fan. Arsenal might be in for him, but Arsenal might have to sell players in order to buy players. And there's obviously a window in January, where I think it's the first 10 days where that release clause is activated, £65 million. So let's wait and see, because if Andy Mitten is saying that we absolutely love him, and people at United see him as a good option, going off of his words, then it's an opportunity for January, isn't it? And I know we want midfielders, and that's seen as the priority position going forward, 2 midfielders. But Andy Mitten also said the other day they want 2 midfielders, a wing back or a winger that can maybe play at wing back, and a defender. Ruben Amorim himself has said that he wants a right-footed Ahmad to play in the left wing back role, which would help us, I think, going forward, because that whole, the floor of the system at the moment is we're defaulting to a back 5 because we've always got, well, not always, but a lot of the times we're playing fullbacks there and they're not attacking enough going forward. And Semenyo would definitely be attacking down that side and would be somebody to give the opposition somebody else to pay attention to. Obviously, with AFCON coming now as well, with us missing Mbumo and Ahmad, who knows? It's worth paying attention to anyway. Whether we'll do it or not, we'll have to wait and see. But there's clear interest there from what Andy Mitten said. He's definitely someone that you look for. There's obviously more reports. Rob Dawson saying we were looking at maybe a wing back. Andy Mitten said a wing back. Ruben Amorim himself said he wants a wing back as well. And if you can't get your midfielders in January because they're not available, and you've got the money available to do Semenyo, why not? Why would we not look to do that? So, but again, whether it's possible or not, we'll have to wait and see. And whether we do have that sort of money available or not in January, we'll have to wait and see. Whether Semenyo would want to come as well. Again, all questions, but give us your thoughts and feelings on that one in the comments below. Now, if we were looking for another attacking player to potentially do a similar thing that can play in the attacking roles and can potentially play at wing back as well. There's a story I brought to you the other day. I think it came from Graham Bailey regarding a Ecuadorian winger, and another South American news outlet has come out saying the same thing, that Manchester United may do battle with Liverpool and Aston Villa for the signature of Ecuadorian star Nilson Angulo, the left winger who was also featured as left wing back, boasts 3 goals and 7 assists in 16 league appearances for Anderlecht. The 22-year-old already has admirers, as Liverpool and Villa are understood to be considering a move for him. South American news brand Bola VIP or Bola VIP understands United are one of the many Premier League clubs to be impressed. His price tag is understood to be around the £26 million mark. Angulo has been touted as somebody who could play a similar role to Amad Diallo, except the Ecuadorian would feature on the left. That is an interesting option. And again, I'd want to see a little bit more credibility than where it's coming from. Graham Bailey, I think, was the first journalist that I brought to you a few days ago. That was linking us with this player. Now we've had some more links from South American report saying that we potentially could be interested. I mean, it might be clickbait, just putting United's name in there as Monks as others, but he does look like an interesting profile. I think when I shared his stats on it the other day, very good defensively as well, got very good defensive numbers. I think someone mentioned in the comments, actually, in Fair Shout, saying that like they could see him as like an Antonio Valencia type signing. I don't think he's quite got the build of Antonio Valencia, because Antonio Valencia was built like a rugby player, but he's a little bit more slight. But I could see it. I could see the shout there. So could that be another potential opportunity for January? If you don't get Semenyo and you can't get a midfielder, can you go and get somebody else to maybe play in that wing-back position? At least give Amorim more tools to try and, try and get the best out of the system that he's insisting on sticking with. Don't know. We'll wait and see. But give us your thoughts and feelings on that in the comments below. as I am sure that you will. Now, obviously, the other areas we're looking for is midfield. There's, it's been widely reported that the main targets we're looking for unlikely to be available in January. We know the main ones: Baleba, Anderson, and Wharton. Ben Jacobs has come out saying that a new name that Man United are looking at is Tyler Adams. There is a possibility he leaves in 2026, more likely this summer. Adams turns 27 next year, and while the aim is to lower the average age in the midfield, he's expected to be more affordable. Man United like Tyler Adams' character. He's well liked by his teammates, and his leadership qualities that are expected to show in the World Cup. There are no negotiations at the moment, but Tyler Adams could be someone to watch in relation to Man United. Now, I don't necessarily think that I think Chris Wheeler the other day did actually come out and was the first journalist that I saw anyway linking United with Tyler Adams. Now, Ben Jacobs suggesting that maybe United are looking at Tyler Adams, possibly going to be a summer deal, but with Bournemouth's financial situation, who knows? Although they're maybe going to get a bit of money for Semenyo in January. Give us your thoughts and feelings on Tyler Adams. I think he's had like really bad injury problems, but for the last couple of years, I think it's settled down a little bit in terms of that. But interesting profile, grafter, quick across the ground. Be interesting to see how he plays against us on Monday night as well. Be keeping a close eye on Tyler Adams just to see him against us and playing at Old Trafford. But yeah, give us your thoughts and feelings on Tyler Adams. Good option, bad option. Let me know in the comments below. Now, another midfield name's come to the media attention today, and it is Noah Sadiki. So this is coming from Sasha Tavalieri, who works for Sky Switzerland. So I know he is pinch of salt material. He is a mixed bag. Sometimes, hit and miss. Sometimes decent, sometimes not. Said in the end of the transfer window that we were in negotiations with Stiller. Had to retract that because it turned out to be absolute waffle because Romano come out debunking it quite quickly after that story almost sent everyone into a frenzy, but was fairly decent when it come to Saint Le Mans as well. So he's one of these. So I would want to see more credibility, basically, is what I'm saying personally. But however, Manchester United and Chelsea are vying for Noah Sadiki. The battle is already raging in the Premier League, and it concerns a name still relatively unknown to the general public, but not to scouts. Noah Sadiki, the Congolese midfielder from Sunderland, is attracting a lot of attention to the point that Manchester United and Chelsea have decided to step up their pursuit. Of course, Chelsea are going to be in for a player that we're looking for. It does say, though, that Chelsea acted immediately after they played Sunderland the other day, which, could mean that they're potentially a little ahead of the game. But it says, but Chelsea aren't alone. Manchester United have long had Sadiki in their sights. The Red Devils have already approached the players' representatives at the start of the season, proof that the situation is being closely monitored. Looking for a midfielder, United could turn to Sadiki if signing Baleba proves too expensive. Now, that would be an interesting shout. Not a player that I've watched a ton of. I do live in the Northeast, though. A lot of my friends and family and everyone like that are all Sunderland fans. I spoke to them about it. They said he's a good player. Some of them were saying around, Kante-esque, that sort of profile, but I'm not going to take their words for it. I'll let you get involved in the comments and tell me what you think about the player. It's difficult to, interesting option, but as it mentioned in the report, Chelsea also interested, but also could be seen as an alternative to Baleba, because Baleba is still, one of the main midfield names that we are interested in. I think Ben Jacobs was saying yesterday that it's Anderson and Baleba are still the top two midfield targets that we're looking for that position. But interesting profile. If he's well scouted, but it would have Christopher Vival's fingerprints all over it, wouldn't it? That type of profile of player, looks a decent shout as well. Whether he would be, my top choice, or whether it would be in use for clicks, or that could be a name that just disappears like a fart in the wind, because I want to see a little bit more credibility than where that story is coming from. But give us your shouts in the comments below, as I'm sure that you will. Now, there's been another name linked with us for the striker position, actually, as well, which is, another interesting profile as well. So, and again, another battle with Chelsea. Who would have thought transfer targets and us being linked with Chelsea? So Manchester United are considering a move for Strasbourg striker Joaquin Panichelli, the Argentine forward who is also on the radar of Chelsea, has 10 goals in 20 appearances in all competitions. Court Offside understands United may be in the mix for his signature. The Reds signed Benjamin Sesko, Mateus Cunha in the summer, but Sesko is more of an out-and-out striker compared to Cunha. Joshua Zirkzee has also previously described himself as a 9.5 rather than a standard centre-forward. While there is no sign Sesko's place is under threat, it does suggest United may be looking for some strength in depth in the striker area. Now, Court Offside are a mixed bag. They have some decent journalists and some not decent journalists, in my opinion, working for them. So I've actually pulled the article up. And it says it's predominantly about Chelsea. And whenever I see a story that's, mainly around Chelsea and then throws Man United and a few other names in the mix as well, I just instantly think clickbait. But, so it says Argentine striker Joaquin Panichelli has become one of the most sought-after young talents in Europe, with several elite clubs vying for his signature ahead of the January transfer window. And then it's just mainly talking about Chelsea. He mentions Manchester United names once at the top, saying that he's caught the attention of Europeans' biggest sides from Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Man United and Aston Villa. Mainly talks around Chelsea and their scouting and everything like that. And then it's literally not till the bottom of the article when it talks about United again. It says, meanwhile in England, Manchester United and Aston Villa have expressed indirect interest through intermediaries. So this is one that I'm going to say take with a pinch of salt for now. It could be somebody that develops. I'd want to see more credibility, basically, regarding where this story comes from, because I always feel a little bit skeptical when I see stories and it's primarily about Chelsea or another team linked with the player, and it just throws Man United's name in there. Like, literally, we're in that entire article twice. Doesn't mean that it could go somewhere. It could be nothing. We'll keep an eye on it, and I'll bring you any updates regarding that. But an interesting profile of player. Looks a decent striker, not one I've watched a ton of, so did some quick research and watched his highlights and stuff. Looks like he's a pretty decent shout. Young, developmental. Could be somebody that could provide rotation for Sesko, or a bit of a backup, like a target striker. It seems from the brief, research and that I did. Someone that can play with his back to goal and link the play and get in the penalty area and stuff. So it looks like a decent shout when it comes to that, if we were looking at that particular profile. Whether that would depend on Zirkzee going or not, who knows? We'll keep an eye on that one, though, for you. And it could all just be, like I said could be a name that just disappears like a fart in a jacuzzi, doesn't it? So, but we'll pay attention to that one. And then the final stories we're going to go through, it feels that at the moment it wouldn't be a news show without having to go through some talk regarding Kobbie Mainoo and his situation. So just very quickly, because I think it's dragging on, and everyone's got their thoughts and opinions, and nothing's really changing regarding the situation. But Ben Jacobs did say one area that's being worked on with Kobbie Mainoo is his ability to get into the right spaces to win the ball quickly. Amram wants someone more physical who can go into beast mode, which we see from a player like Anderson. Ruben appreciates Amram's quality on the ball, but he wants safety net midfielders, those who can either be in the right position to stop counterattacks or have the pace to get back quickly. So Ben Jacobs suggesting that there's, a few of the deficiencies that Mainoo has in his game as to one of the reasons why, Amram's not picking him. I suppose it makes sense because Casemiro's not exactly blessed with pace. Like, I would pick Mainoo above Casemiro in a foot race. I'm pretty sure Mainoo's quicker across the ground than Casemiro. But Casemiro's experienced, where sometimes standing in the right position can actually be more helpful than running around like a headless chicken. Like Michael Carrick used to be elite at doing that. Michael Carrick could shield a defence just by intercepting the passing lanes and making sure the ball couldn't be passed between him. And maybe that's something that Ruben Amram's alluding to. And obviously, yeah, he does have that is one of his deficiencies, isn't it? His lack of pace midfield. So maybe shedding a little bit of light as to why, whether you agree with it or not is irrelevant. From that's Amram's perspective. If he thinks he wants somebody that can understand the position of midfield better to try and stop counterattacks, or have the pace in order to get back to help stop the counterattacks, is what he wants in midfield, rather than a ball-playing midfielder at the moment. Because, again, with the system, I think he wants to build up, and, the centre-backs are meant to be the ball progressors in this system. Maybe that explains it, but I'm sure you're going to have your thoughts and your opinions on that in the comments below. And then finally on Mainoo, Andy Mitten said that I was told within a couple of weeks that when Amram first came in, that Cobby needs to do more to prove to this manager that he should be starting. The reason why Amram doesn't fancy Mainoo as much as other players goes right back to when Amram first came in. So apparently this isn't just a this season issue. This is something that actually Amram's been working on, or trying to develop in Cobby Mainoo, or just not happy with when he first came in as well. So who knows? Whether there's anything else that has gone on behind the scenes. We don't know. But yeah, the latest regarding Mainoo, all the other stuff around Mainoo is just the same as what we've been talking about for what feels like years, because it's one of those sagas now, isn't it? Where we'll see at the end of January, I think, what happens with Cobby Mainoo. But get involved in the comments. Let me know what you think regarding all of that. So in summary, Ramos, definitely a no-go. Potentially, United would absolutely love to get Semenyo, which is really interesting. We know we're potentially looking at a right-footed left wing-back, which might be possible in January. Another link to Angulo. Midfield, a couple of new names coming up. Tyler Adams and Sadiki, potentially ones to pay attention to. Young striker that we're linked with, but I'd question the credibility of that source at the moment. And Amram doesn't rate Mainoo because he wants somebody quicker and can read the game a little bit better in midfield. So that was all of today's Man United news. Don't forget, get involved in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. See you in the next one.